Hey, welcome everyone to a consumer tech advice video. In this video explaining why you should not rush out to buy new technology. And if you want to see the written version of this video, you can find a link to my website in the video description. Now, this is easier said than done for most people because I'm sure a lot of our people we know in our friend circle or in our family circle, whatever it may be, you know people that have to buy the latest and greatest phone. They replace it like every year. They spend over $2,000. So all the numbers I'll be talking about are in CAD in this video, which is Canadian dollars. So the equivalent right now is like 1 Canadian dollars equal to 70 cents. The ratio is pretty bad in Canadian dollars. It's like 30 cents less, I guess you want to say. The number one and easily the best reason to wait to buy new technology is to save on money. You know, this is a bad financial time around the globe, many parts of the world. Saving money is more important than ever. But I'll explain the logic as to why it's not just about saving money, there's much more to it. But I'll give you some examples. This laptop you see right here that I usually use for recording videos, video editing when I'm on the train going to work and from work, it has a 4060 graphic card. And at the time, when it was brand new, it was valued about over $2,000 Canadian, almost like $1,700 US, something like that. It's a Lenovo Legion 5i 16-inch gaming laptop, but I waited several months to get it. And I got it for $1,500 Canadian. The weird thing here is that in the United States at the same time, I was curious just looking up their pricing to see if we get it shipped and it's cheaper. It was $1,500 US. So the numerical value is the same, but because the Canadian dollar is weaker, it was cheaper here. Another great example is the Pixel 8 Pro, which I purchased straight from Google. I got it for $500 cheaper than what it's actually was originally sold for. So it comes with a bigger screen, which I always like. The other thing is like I bought this when the Pixel 9 series was out. So this is almost a year later, but it's still brand new out of the box from Google. And I purchased it specifically to load Graphene OS onto, which is a privacy-based operating system. I'll put a link to that video in the video description explaining the good and the bad and whatnot. It's based on Android framework, but it's very privacy focused. But the next item is the most overlooked in my opinion, and that is diminishing returns. What that basically means is like this. We'll take an example. The change between picture TV clarity between CRT and DVD was huge, got much clearer. The change between DVD and HD got much clearer, but those gaps are huge. Like if you bought a TV that was like 720p HD and you jump to 1080p full HD, you know, the difference between that timeline was pretty short. Does it make a better picture clarity? Yeah, the screen is massive because of pixel per inch density and all that good stuff, but it wasn't huge. It's the same with phones. I know some people that buy a brand new phone, each one over $2,000 Canadian. Like you're talking like the top of the line iPhone Pro Max, whatever the hell it's called right now, and also the top of the line Samsung Galaxy non-folding device with the biggest storage possible, and they're replacing it every year. It's absurd. It just, there's no difference in it. And I've asked these people, why do you keep buying new phones every year? Why do you have to also get top of the line? That's the other question. They can never answer the question. They kind of give me a blank stare and they're kind of thinking like, why did I buy this? I'm not here to judge how they spend their money, but I'm like sincerely curious as a tech enthusiast and someone who works in IT and cybersecurity and a full-time job. Is it the difference between the PS5 and the PS5 Pro? But it's priced way higher, but there's almost next to no difference even when people do side-by-side comparison. The next thing is better reviews. By waiting, you get better reviews. The problem with buying new technology the day it releases is that a lot of big-time YouTube tech reviewers will sign an NDA. So they get the product weeks in advance, they'll review it. But a lot of these channels with millions of subscribers do an absolute trash job. They review products like headphones and whatnot, because I used to review a lot of headphones. And I watched some other ones, and they do an atrocious job. Like absolutely butchering what they should be saying, and they do a terrible job, but they have such a blind loyalty following that people don't care. They'll be like, oh, this person said something, I'm going to buy it right away. The other problem with this is that not only do they do a bad job of reviews, they're also usually marketing mouthpieces. They're usually paid by Apple to review these products, or LG, or they'll say, hey, we'll have an exclusive interview with our executives, but then you got to, keep it kind of light on our products. Can you imagine if I started butchering Sony, which I have? When I used to review headphones, I used to butcher Sony. I used to say that they had some amazing products because it was justified. But some products, I think I gave it like a 5 out of 10 or something like that, or 5.5 out of 10, and I ripped it apart because they were terrible. But do you think Sony would ever want to approach me to say, hey, let's do a collaboration, even though I trash talk some of their bad products? No. The reason you want to wait for a lot more reviews to come out is because you want to see what a lot of people will say on like bestbuy.ca, what a lot of people will say on Costco.com or whatever. Now, I understand those are not professional reviews, but they're just general consumers. You're getting a consumer opinion. It's someone who's a purchaser, a regular person like you. You also get more opinions from tech news websites, and just some of the websites that spend a lot more time reviewing products and doing a great job. So for example, Gamers Nexus and Jay's 2 cents, when it comes to PC hardware reviews and whatnot, they do a phenomenal job. And they will rip apart any manufacturer when they're ripping off consumers. Those are the type of reviews you want to wait for. But that means waiting for the product to kind of sit on the shelf for a few days or weeks. Just be patient. Which kind of leads to the next thing, FOMO, fear of missing out. You know, these big tech YouTubers that you watch that do a terrible job and are very biased in their opinion, or they have staff writing the script for them, so the tech reviewer doesn't actually review it themselves, they just film themselves on the camera and read the script. Well, don't follow them blindly. Don't. They're not your friend. They're there to make YouTube videos to make it for money. Some people make it for money and as a hobby, like myself. I admit it. I'm trying to that's why I make these tech consumer advice videos. It's also a natural habit for humans to be kind of jealous or envious of other people when they have something better. It's been like that since probably the dawn of time. Who knows? But, you know, when someone gets a nice new car, people are like, they have a better car than me. They have a bigger house than me. And this and this and that. It's not a good habit, but a lot of people suffer from this type of mindset, which is unfortunate. And social media has made it worse. People be posting, you know, in their friend circle and family circle, these exotic vacations they went on, beautiful scenery. The next one is very near and dear to me. A lot of people don't care about it, which is unfortunate and sad, is you need to think about the environment. E-waste has gotten out of control. We have too much technology being built. It's always around us. And I'm kind of guilty of it because I have smart lighting here, smart lighting behind me, but I don't plan to throw it out anytime soon until it's dead. But when you have other multi-trillion-dollar companies like Microsoft that just says, yeah, we're going to stop Windows updates for Windows 10 in the next year or so because you can't extend Windows 10. I have a few videos explaining how to get that done. But a lot of people are not going to be aware of that and going to throw the computer in the trash. And a lot of people who are not affected by, you know, the poisonous fumes and whatnot and the chemicals of e-waste, they're like, who cares? But there are a lot of parts of the world where people do suffer from it. And a lot of parts of the environment that do suffer from it. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So don't go out and replace your technology right away. A great person you could follow is Louis Rossmann. He's always talking about how to make your products, not just technology, but just products in general, increase the longevity of them. Install Linux. I have Linux on this machine. It's a Lenovo gaming laptop that I bought last year. I primarily use Linux on it. The next few things I'll go over really quickly, but they're still worth considering, is bug fixes and stability. You know, far too often you hear about a new iPhone with the new iOS version, tons of bugs, a lot of issues, and then Apple has to fix it and whatnot. It happens to all these, you know, developers. Video games are probably the most notorious, especially on PC gaming, but it happens on consoles. You'll rush out to buy a new video game, and prices are more expensive than ever and are a ripoff. I'm looking at you, Nintendo Switch. But what happens is they release with a lot of bugs, and it's not a great experience. It ruins the vibe, it ruins the mood. You spent a lot of money on this video game, really looking forward to it. Again, it happens in video games a lot. The next one is lack of content. Now, this is very specific on depending on which technology you're using on, but let's use TVs as an example. Does anyone remember 8K TVs? They died out pretty quickly, right? I remember I explained how 8K TVs are useless, and a lot of people in the comments are bashing on me, but that like to dislike ratio is fantastic. It's like a 97-98% like rating. Because what people didn't understand is I wasn't bashing 8K. I was bashing the problem that the pixels per inch, like the density, you couldn't notice the difference between that and a 4K TV. In fact, I even compared a 4K LG OLED TV to a Samsung 8K QLED TV. The 4K OLED was better. And lo and behold, shocking to the people who commented negatively on that video, I was right. 8K TVs are practically dead because it was a fad that just didn't make sense. It doesn't justify it. There was also no 8K content. And the last two things I'm going to wrap up together really quick and neat is that first generation products usually aren't the most stable. They aren't that great. It's usually the second and third iteration of the product, if it's a hardware based, are usually much better. Also, another thing to consider is the repairability. Is repairing your products on your own important to you? If you don't have a lot of cash and you want to purchase something expensive and make it last as long as possible, a good resource is something like, I think it's iFixit. What they do is they actually take apart cell phones, for example, laptops, and they'll give you a score on how good or bad it is to repair. That's pretty much a wrap. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, be sure to check out my website link in the video description. Hit the like button, it does help. Subscribe, it literally helps my channel grow. And maybe consider hitting the super thanks button. It's like the little heart icon under this video, because I have to make these videos on my free time. Here, I'm off work today, so I'm doing my free time to help you out, and that's a wrap.